and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Airplane vs. Volcano. Welcome, folks, to another episode of Garbage Theater. I'm your host, Chase, here with my co-host, Blake.
Yes, once again, Jesus.
Well, on that enthusiastic note, let's get this shit show on the road.
Yeah, why are we doing this to each other? That's what I gotta know. I mean, it's just, why are we doing this to each other?
Why not?
Why not? Because we're supposed to like each other. We're family, for Christ's sake.
Well,
but anyway, no, I enjoyed this one more than most, so I guess it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I want to, since we're 10 episodes deep now, just to give a little reminder in case people have just started listening what we do on this show.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Every week, me and Blake will trade off picking an unwatchable movie off of Netflix. It has to have 2.5 stars or less. We force the other one to watch it, and we curate 5 trivia questions on said movie. And if the person quizzed can't get at least 3 right, the person quizzing gets to pick another movie. If they do get 3
Correct.
right, they get to pick a movie. And we swap back and forth.
Or as we found out last week, if you don't answer any of them, you are subject to a double feature the following
2 movies.
week.
Yes. Now,
Yes.
now I will go ahead and I'll fess up and say I only watched one of them because that was my benefit of this week.
Well, I'll go ahead and fess up and say I didn't watch either. I didn't watch one movie. Not one.
Well, then
So-
you can watch another 2 then.
Well, now, what you got to say about that?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time you did that.
This is true.
Son of a
yes.
bitch. Okay, so the 2 movies this week were Airplane vs. Volcano, another little gem from our friends at Asylum,
Correct.
and also Animal, a horror film produced by Drew Barrymore for some reason.
Correct.
So,
Well,
how'd you enjoy them?
I liked Airplane versus Volcano as good as could be expected.
Yeah.
There were some hilarious, really, really funny parts to it. They wasn't supposed to be funny, but I found them hilarious.
Yes.
So, just about normal for these shitty movies, about how much I enjoyed it, I guess.
Yeah.
Not too bad, not too good.
Well, as usual, now is when we present our stakes for the quiz.
Yes. Correct.
Blake was the one that is being quizzed tonight, so he gets to put up his pick first.
Yes. I'm confident that I'm going to do well tonight.
Okay.
So my pick has 1.25 stars on Netflix.
Ooh, reaching high.
It's 4.5 out of 10 out of IMDb. No Rotten Tomatoes. However, it did have a when it's not critic, it's what? Just what is it? Audience?
The audience rating.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was under 20%. It is 2015's Absolution, starring Steven Seagal.
Oh my god!
Going back into it.
I thought we were going to take a break.
Well, I decided that break's over. It's time to get back to the nut cutting. So the synopsis for this is: when a contract killer encounters a girl on the run from a dangerous, politically connected mob boss running a human trafficking operation, he is torn between protecting the girl and remaining loyal to the government agency that hired him.
Okay.
This one had some...
And he sits down a lot.
This one, it seemed to be the reason why I picked it. It seemed to be that he has to move. So
it's in his contract. You have to move, Steven.
It looked like I looked at all the available Seagal movies, which, by the way, this 1.25 star one is the highest rated one. And out of all the plots, I was like, well, he's gonna have to move in this one. So anyway, these had better reviews. Better reviews from me reading, not better as in the movie's better.
Yeah.
They were more like there's only one of them that's one sentence or like a short sentence. But anyway, let me get to it. Seagal looks like a disgraced Vegas magician swaddled in a big coat and sporting an unfortunate goatee. Drowsy line readings and the combat prowess of a walrus. I thought that was a hell of a review right there. The second one is returning to his comfort zone of bulky costuming and easily defeated baddies. The new Seagal production is much like the other Seagal productions, with the mumbly iron-fisted star barely paying attention while the movie carries on around him.
That is perfect.
It is. And the third one, which we always save for our favorite, is Seagal is getting Brando heavy. Brando heavy. I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
Oh my!
So there you go. That's my pick. Absolution, starring the great Steven Seagal.
I'd like to see a third rendition of Isle of Dr. Moreau with Steven Seagal as the Brando character.
Oh my God, that would be great.
Steven Seagal as Dr. Moreau.
Yes, and
you have to teach him all about Aikido.
Rob Van Dam playing the Val Kilmer part. Now, I will say it was a toss-up between this movie and another movie, which I forgot the name because who really cares? But Stone Cold Steve Austin was starring alongside Steven Seagal.
Oh,
but I decided not to.
Movie.
Yeah. I decided not to do that for fear of like I didn't want to make the rattlesnake mad at me. Basically, I didn't want to get hunted down. So. I have some morals, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so your pick is Absolution.
Yes.
Well, I could go ahead and say I did not pick a Seagal movie.
Well, that's a shame
because I thought we were taking a break from his heaviness. 1 week was long enough. So my movie was made in 2012. Mm-hmm. It is a horror / western.
Okay.
Starring Wesley Snipes.
He ain't in jail for tax evasion still?
Well, okay, I'm going to get to that. It's called Gallow Walkers.
Okay, I've seen it. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen it in on there somewhere.
Yeah. This is the movie that he was filming in Africa when all that went down.
Oh. That makes it interesting.
Yeah. So the synopsis is, a cursed gunman whose victims come back from the dead recruits a young warrior to help in the fight against a gang of
which one is he? Oh,
He's the gunman.
Not the warrior.
Yeah.
He's been petitioning to play Blade again, by the way.
A young warrior.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Now, a little tidbit. All of the voiceover throughout this movie is a sound-alike due to his legal troubles.
Wait. Come on.
He wasn't available to do the post-recording for the voiceover for the movie, so they had to get a Snipes sound-alike to do it. So it's Snipes in the movie, but Snipes talking over the movie is not Snipes.
I might throw the game, man. That's hilarious.
Reviews.
Okay.
Such as, don't even bother. Absolute garbage. Fitting.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, awful, but still not as bad as How I Met Your Mother.
Hey, I like that show. I'm not laughing. It was a beautiful story about finding love in a topsy-turvy world.
Was it, though?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
So them's the stakes. We either got a mildly interesting Wesley Snipes movie or yet another Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah. I'm kind of happy
win no matter what, but
I'm happy to be the asshole to bring that one back. To bring it back first.
So the rules of Dirty Pool double feature is I could split these 5 questions amongst the 2 movies any way I wanted to.
Luckily,
like I said earlier, I spoiled it. I only watched one of these movies.
Thank God.
So hopefully you watched the right one.
Yeah, that narrows down my my situation there.
Yeah. So without further ado, the quiz.
And I would say give a synopsis of the movie, but it's Airplane versus Volcano. That's the synopsis.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, so ask away, my friend.
Yeah. Question number 1. What is the plane's ID number?
7389.
Wow.
Oh, I knew that one was coming.
A little too obvious?
I knew. I was like, this asshole's going to ask me the flight number.
Okay. Question number 2. What is the largest plane Dean Cain has ever flown?
Oh, I don't know. I can't even pass. I don't know. I know it's a smaller plane than what he's flying.
Yeah. They're flying the 747 in the movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it wasn't even just like a Cessna or something. He said something.
Yeah, he says what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't even.
You gonna take the miss on that one?
Yeah.
It was a King Air.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known. I'm not even upset about that one.
All right, so you're 1-1.
Yep.
Question 3. How fast was the ash cloud moving at the probe helicopter?
I'm a pass. I'm gonna pass.
Passing. Okay.
Because I gotta guess, but I'm a pass.
Okay. What does the volcano scientist that's on board the plane say he majored and minored in?
I don't want to mix them up. Damn it.
He says he minored in blank, but he majored in blank. I'll help you out there.
No, he minored in genius, but majored in awesome.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So you got 2. You missed 1.
2.
You passed 1.
Yeah.
So if you get this one, you don't have to worry about the previous one.
Right.
How much explosives did they place on the plane before Dean Cain flew it into the volcano? Spoiler alert. Dean Cain flies it into the volcano.
This is bad. Because it starts with a 2. I don't remember if it's 20 or 200. Oh no. And I would try to use like the laws of physics, like, well, them 2 guys could only bring in 20 pounds, but that physics does not exist.
Physics
in this
is
movie.
out the window in this movie.
I'm gonna say 20 pounds. It was 200, wasn't it?
It was 200 pounds.
Son of a bitch! Oh, I knew it. God.
So, 2-2. We go back to how
did they
fast
give a specific speed, or they just said it was faster than?
They give a specific speed. How fast was the ash cloud approaching the probe helicopter?
You don't know how mad I am right now because I had it in my grasp. I had it
right there.
I had it.
You even reasoned it correctly.
Yeah.
That rationale doesn't apply to this movie. So of course they brought in 200 pounds of explosives.
I know. Damn it. I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna extend you an olive branch here.
Please do.
Just because I feel like I screwed you with this question. I'm gonna give you the measurement of speed. I'm not gonna give you the number. I'm gonna make you take a stab in the dark for that. It's approaching in an amount of knots. And it's higher than 200.
Well, I figured that because I mean it's
higher than 200, and it's knots. That's the sound of my hands rubbing together, ladies and gentlemen.
No. 500 knots.
Oh, 300 knots.
Yeah, damn it. I even remembered the nickname that the kid got, the name that the lady just randomly called the Sky Marshal. I remember all that stuff. The base they were on, the call signs of the different groups coming in to help them. I remembered all that stuff.
But I couldn't tell you any of that.
Yeah, not speed. Jackass.
Well, we're watching Gallo Walkers.
I suck at this game, man.
Well, you're only 2 in the hole now. As long as you don't increase it to 7 like your last streak.
This is like, I suck at this game. I feel like you know what's going through my head right now? Nacho Libre, when he's like, I want to win. Like that's what's in my head. Like that's all I want. I just want to win.
And you came out of the gate so confident with the plane number and all.
Oh. I thought that was going to be the hard one. Apparently not. Asshole here is talking about knots and shit. What was the nickname the Sky Marshal gave the kid?
I remember him doing it. I don't remember what it was.
Tony Macaroni.
Tony Macaroni. I think I wrote that down in my notes. I want to say there's a line in here that just says Tony Macaroni.
I even knew how many volcanoes there were. Do you know that?
Nope, I wasn't paying attention to that at all.
See, because I thought this was going to be a chase question. Because they never said how many, but they showed on a radar screen how many.
Is it 7?
It's 8.
It's 8.
8. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Apparently the graphic designer on the radar images liked symmetry. Because it's 4 on one side, 4 on the other. In a perfect circle. So anyway, let's get to it, I guess.
Considering I didn't even watch Animal, I don't think we're even going to talk about that.
Yeah, let's not. Let's just stick to this garbage. I don't think we'd have the time to go through both of them anyway.
No, Airplane vs. Volcano is definitely the one to talk about.
Yeah.
So first of all, how does an airplane verse a volcano?
I'll tell you how. First you need Dean Cain.
Yes.
You have to have him. You need autopilot.
Yep.
And you need how did they get off course? They never even explained how they got off course. Oh, it was the magnetic field got messed up because of the volcanoes. That's what it was.
It got messed up, so they overshot Hawaii and just kept going out into the Pacific.
Yeah. Which actually...
Okay, well...
Yeah, we'll get to that. There was an issue with that, too. But go ahead.
So the movie starts out, and there's this scientist on a little volcanic island taking readings.
Right.
As scientists do.
Mm-hmm.
There's he's in correspondence with another volcano scientist back at the base.
Would they be called Vulcanists or just Vulcans?
Let's call them Vulcans.
Okay.
That's more fun.
Yes.
So, old Vulcan man and Vulcan lady are talking about the volcanoes that he's measuring. They're using many seismograph charts, none of which have numbers on them.
I never noticed that.
Every single chart and graph on every computer screen is completely devoid of units of measurement, of any indicators of what any of that is. It's just hatch marks.
It's just that you don't know how to read it, that's all.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
You're not a Vulcan. If you were a Vulcan, you could read it.
So he's there taking readings. They're expecting some kind of volcanic activity. And there's a rumble, and he turns around, and there's all these volcanic islands sprung up out of the ocean.
Yeah.
And
there was
how he missed those, I don't know.
There was a slight jostle in the earth there.
Yes.
And, oh, wait, what do you know? Islands just formed.
And then there's another little rumble in the tumbles.
Yeah.
And a wall of lava comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And melts old man Vulcan.
Yeah.
So that's setting up that's the origin story of the antagonist of the movie, the volcano.
This is how you knew the volcano was like out for human flesh. Yeah. For some reason.
If you thought the plane was going to be the bad guy, they put a twist on you.
Yeah, it was the volcano. Go figure.
So then we cut to the plane, and Dean Cain is startled awake.
Can I say this, though? As I watched this, I started thinking, Dean Cain looks a lot like Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Like, when he has like kind of a scraggly beard going in his movie, and I was like, he looks a lot like an older Chris Pratt. Just saying.
I wonder if he sits at home and grumbles to himself about that.
Thought about what could have been.
Star-Lord. I could have been Star-Lord, damn it.
I mean, Superman's nice and everything, but I'd rather be Star-Lord. Nobody liked me as Superman ever anyway, except for, middle-aged broads for some reason.
So we start going around the plane, and we're introduced to all the characters, and everyone is up in everyone else's business on this plane.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking to each other. Everyone's striking up conversations with strangers all around the plane.
I can tell you now, I have never spoken to anyone on a plane.
Other than people that I was flying with that I knew, I've never spoken to another human being on a plane.
I barely do that. It's Game Boy time when I'm on a plane. I ain't talking to nobody.
Where there's like the little kid, Tony Macaroni, is looking over the seats at the air marshal. And his mom turns around and says, "You're Hank, right?" Like she has she should know what his name is.
How awkward was that? And he's like, "No, it's Jim."
Oh, I thought you were Hank.
You look like a Hank.
Throw random names at strangers on planes.
That's so weird. Like that didn't even. See, I thought that was going to be a question too. I thought you were going to be what did she call him first?
Yeah,
been Hank. That's such a strange way to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so there's the mom and the kid, Tony Macaroni. There's the air marshal. Well, we don't know he's the air marshal yet. We just know he's not Hank.
Yes.
There's a very nervous guy.
Mm-hmm.
There is a nerdy fellow on his little scientific iPad.
Right.
And then a gaggle of random people.
Yes.
Now, it all totals up
volcano fodder.
It all totals up to maybe 10 folks.
Right.
So it's a 747 going from LA to Hawaii. Correct. And there's only 10 people on it, and they're all in first class.
Correct.
Now, this was my thinking through the whole movie. You can clearly see the curtain separating first class and the rest of the plane. The camera never breaches that curtain once the entire movie.
Right.
The people in coach are left to fend for themselves.
That's
They're
right.
out of the loop.
Me and Chase talked about this earlier, that it was basically the 1% got to make the decisions for everybody else on that plane. And
the 0.1% of the 1%, Dean Cain.
That's right.
was really making the decisions. And they were not good decisions at all.
But you know what? Maybe he is Superman, because he pulled off some shit in this movie.
Jesus Christ.
But we'll get to it.
Yeah. So, They show some more. The nerdy guy on his iPad has another numberless graph that he's looking at.
Right.
So you know that he's also a volcanologist.
He's a Vulcan.
They start their landing procedure. So generally, when they start their landing procedure, they're not that far away. But
Right.
We'll get to the distances relative in this movie. But just know that they're starting their landing procedure. They descend through the clouds into what appears to be Mordor.
Yes, it does.
It's just fire and death as far as you can see.
In a perfect circle.
Yes.
Right.
So they come down and
which in case y'all haven't noticed, this is where the movie takes a downward turn.
Yes.
Like in all ways. This is where it gets shitty right here. That quick.
If the plane would have just come down and landed in Hawaii and ended, I would have said, okay. It was a 5-minute movie, but you know what? Good for them.
That was a nice short film starring Dean Cain. Like
getting startled awake and then landing.
Yes. Bravo, Dean Cain. Bravo. But no, there's more.
No. They come down. Terrible CG flaming rocks are flying at the plane. And this 747 handles like a goddamn F-16.
It does.
It barrel rolls and tips and turns at the slightest little bit. The pilot gets pierced through the chest by a micro meteor. Whatever comes through the thing. The co-pilot is killed. Correct.
Yes.
That's the way I read it. Even though there's confusion about who actually died in the beginning. The co-pilot is killed. The pilot gets mortally wounded, but he's not dead. And he turns on the autopilot.
Right.
Oh, that pesky autopilot. It's going to be such a thorn in everyone's side through this movie.
And I know I wasn't the only one that was just expecting the inflatable pilot to show up from the airplane movie. But he didn't. That would have made this movie better right then.
He turns on the autopilot, and the stewardess comes in, and he's trying to convey.
Hold on there, buddy. It's flight attendant. Are you crazy?
Sorry. I didn't mean to trigger anybody.
Are you crazy? I am literally shaking right now. So the stewardess comes into the cockpit. Go ahead.
She comes in. The pilot's desperately trying to convey to her what the code to the autopilot is so they can turn it off so that they can try to land the plane. He only gets 2 numbers out and he dies.
Right.
Or no, he passes out. He doesn't die. No.
But he's dead.
The pilot dies. The co-pilot's unconscious.
But he's dead.
It
was very confusing. This is why I know they're dead.
Extremely confusing.
This is why I know they're dead. Because they drug their asses out of there and you never heard from them again. They're dead.
Yeah. After that, they come out and they're talking about how the pilots are dead. And I could have swore one of them said that, oh, he's just unconscious. The pilot died because he's coughing up blood and he's got a hole in his chest. But the co-pilot was just knocked out.
Wow.
I don't know.
They're dead.
So,
Asylum Films doesn't have time for your nuances. They're dead.
With both the pilots taken out of the picture, the only person that can possibly take over is Dean Cain.
Of course.
So Dean Cain doesn't say that he has any qualifications for flying. He just gets up, goes into the cockpit, and gets in the seat.
Well, let me tell you something. Some dreamy son bitch walks past me on his way to the cockpit and be like, he knows what he's doing. I'm not getting in his way.
Not only that, he gets up and not Hank reveals that he's the air marshal.
Right.
And Kane's just like, that's cool. Bye.
Yeah, I'm still going to fly this plane.
I'm still going to fly this bitch. So, and at this point, everyone's still very calm for both the pilots being out.
Well, they think they're unconscious. You're right. They think they're unconscious. Even though they're all aware that there's volcanoes outside.
Yeah, they can look out the window and see the fires of Mount Doom right there.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of Lord of the Rings jokes throughout this.
Of course.
So, like I said, everyone's very calm for the plane being out of control, and they're dodging shit left and right. The nervous guys get more nervous, as he probably should be at this point. And nerdy scientist Vulcanist gets up and approaches him because he feels he needs to, and gets in his business. And he snaps at him like, "No, I'm not okay. Get away from me." Once again, everyone's in everybody's business on this plane.
That's right.
So the air marshal breaks the news to everybody that the pilots are down, but don't worry, Dean Cain's on it.
To which everybody goes, "Oh, okay."
But then someone looks out the window and says, "That's a volcano."
Right.
And then it's on.
Right.
It's at this point that the nerdy guy reveals that he's actually a volcano scientist. His words.
Yes.
A volcano scientist.
That's right. A Vulcan.
So that's handy. Then we go back into the cockpit with Cain, and it's revealed that, the autopilot is stuck on. So I'm not sure what he's doing in there.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's feigning that he's trying to muscle this plane into submission. And he does that for the entire movie. The entire movie is him straining against this plane. Because he says there's a little bit of give in it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of give. Now, I was watching this. They don't ever actually get the autopilot off, do they?
I have a question. I don't know.
I don't think they do.
We're going to get to that part. We'll
get to that, but I just want to say right now, I don't think they ever get the autopilot off. So keep that little nugget that Dean Cain doesn't even need to be in the goddamn.
This is true.
Pilot's chair, because things go from bad to worse when Cain gets in charge. So we cut to the military base in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Where the soldiers are complaining about being sick because they ate the gravy.
What's the name of the base?
Base Hawaii.
No, Ni Hao.
Ni Hao. Why not?
Letting you know.
So they go into the command central, and they're talking about the volcanic activity, and Mr. Sergeant I'm in charge says there's no volcanic activity. If there's volcanic activity, we'd have known it by now. And seconds later, sir, there's volcanic activity.
Yeah. Well, there you go, asshole. Now you got your confirmation.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I'm not convinced this was actual military.
No.
Because this ragtag group of people, no matching uniforms. None of them. Name tags, different colors, just...
The hierarchy of who's in charge seems to fluctuate wildly.
Yeah.
Because this young kid is the one that's concerned about saving these people on the plane. And the
Sergeant Tully, by the way.
Sergeant Tully, okay. Well, what's the rank of the dude in charge?
I'm not sure they ever said. If they did,
him.
Who cares?
Let's call him first lieutenant.
Captain Crunch.
I don't know military ranks.
Captain Crunch.
Captain. We'll just call him Captain Crunch. Okay, Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch talks down to him and slaps him aside like he's like a private, but he's in charge of everyone in the room, apparently.
Right.
So,
he's like, I'm the one that drew the volcanoes on these dry erase boards.
I drew the little guys.
Yeah. Which somebody had to draw them, by the way. They're on there.
Yeah. So this military ain't gonna do shit for shit. It's revealed.
Right.
A huge disaster. Giant volcanoes are rising out of the ocean, sending walls of ash and fire at the coast of Hawaii. We're not saving nobody. I'm not risking a single person to save any civilian on the beach, any person in that plane. Screw them all.
Right. Which, once again, only solidifies... I don't know who these people are, but they wasn't military.
So we're back on the plane. One of the passengers suffers a minor ouchie when the drink cart rolls into his arm.
Yeah, was this
and they
necessary?
make a huge deal of it.
Yeah, it's enough of a big deal that somebody gets hit in the elbow by a drink cart that they have to go tell Dean Cain, who's straining against all will to maneuver this plane that's still in autopilot. They go and tell him somebody got hurt. Like, does he need to hear that right now? He's using all of his Superman strength to move that stick a little bit.
Yeah, he needs to be in the back sweeping up is what he needs to be doing.
Well, you know.
So, the flight attendants seem to not be trained in anything at all.
No.
In helping the people on the plane and calming them down in anything. They're just kind of there. They're more passengers themselves.
Yes.
The crazy guy is getting more crazy. It's I want to say it's revealed that he and the air marshal know each other.
I didn't get that. I think you're alone in that one. I didn't get that.
Okay. Because when the crazy guy gets up and he starts yelling about, you know, the pilots are dead, we're all gonna die, the air marshal approaches him and he calls him by name. Well, and it was like, are they like together? Is he like some crazy guy that he's escorting or something?
It's probably not hard for a sky marshal to remember the 10 people in first class. That are probably the only people on this plane, apparently.
The crazy guy was foreign, so they probably profiled him and was keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, that might have been what it was. That, you know, so that's what it was.
It's here that Tony Macaroni is dubbed Tony Macaroni.
Yes.
Because he's trying to, you know,
calm
that
the
he's
kid
good
down.
with the kids. To calm the kid down.
They even do a cool little handshake. Just so you know. Oh, they are cool.
We cut back to military base and Sergeant what's his name?
Tully.
Sergeant Tully is pleading with Captain Crunch.
That's right.
To do some kind of rescue mission. And Captain Crunch is shooting down every possible idea because he's in goddamn cahoots with the volcano. This
right.
is that
and something I think we forgot to mention too, this autopilot situation is keeping it circling inside the volcanoes, by the way. It's like it's in a holding pattern. Yeah, the autopilot. For some reason, holding pattern inside the volcanoes, like the
perfectly
ring of volcanoes.
Inside the area of the volcano.
Correct. So, like, just in case you were wondering why don't they fly out, there's a reason why. Not a good reason, but there's a reason why.
Yeah. So they decide that they need to probe the volcanoes for data that's going to help them out.
Right.
They send a probe plane out there to pop the volcano with a little probe. That's when the wall of ash comes and obliterates that plane. So that's just proven to Captain Crunch. Well, we can't even get in there.
Right.
So why even try?
Right.
That said ash cloud then hits the beach of Hawaii and Pompeii's everybody on the beach.
Right. And in case you didn't realize it, by the woman holding her daughter in the exact pose you always see of all the Pompeii pictures.
Yeah, in that National Geographic article about Pompeii.
Yeah, in case that didn't tell you that, oh, it's like Pompeii, as soon as they go back to the base, then the other Vulcan in there says, the whole island's Pompeii now. It's like, oh, really? Yes. How do you didn't see that woman get turned into ash from where you're standing in that base, but somehow you knew that.
Yeah. Thanks, Captain Crunch.
Yeah,
everybody on the
Captain
beach
Crunch.
is dead.
Yeah.
This is why we should have destroyed the one ring, goddammit.
That's right.
Son of a bitch, a seal door. So So we go back up into the plane, and Dean Cain and the flight attendant are in the cockpit, and he's telling her, now, everybody really pay attention to what I'm saying here. Mm-hmm. He's struggling to control the plane, which is on autopilot.
Right.
And he tells her, she needs to get underneath the control panel and try to disable the autopilot.
Right.
He can't do it because he's too busy fighting the autopilot.
Right.
Why he can't do this, I don't know.
Especially... And go ahead.
The way he describes what she's looking for is he says verbatim, it should be a series of color-coded switches or something completely different.
Yes. Yeah.
He just described everything in there.
Yeah. He actually said circuit breaker instead of switches.
Oh, a color-coded circuit breaker or something completely different.
Yeah. Which then, when you see the said circuit breaker, it switches. And I was like, well, yes. Switches aren't circuit breakers. That's not how that works. But anyway, it just happens to be he chose the only flight attendant who was allergic to wiring. Because she puts her hand in this cockpit, like, dashboard, and it's as if it's filled with vipers. Like, she does not want her hand in there for some reason. And she's like, the whole time she's making these faces, and she's like, oh, God, like it's filled with snakes or something.
Yeah. So she flips a switch.
And which he told her, this was the other thing, he said it should look totally different than all the other ones. Now, I don't know if she could actually see him or not. Because if she couldn't see him, then
what?
Huh?
I don't think she could. That's why she was making all the struggling noise.
Then why tell her the one you're looking for is going to look totally different than the other ones?
Why make this movie?
Why? Why didn't he do it himself? You know, it's on autopilot, like you said.
We're gonna get to that. Why didn't he do it himself?
When you see this quote unquote circuit breaker, there's 2 red switches, there's 3 carbon fiber switches, and there's 1 blue switch. Yeah. So I was like, well, obviously she needs to flip the blue switch because he said it looks different than all the other ones. You know, I've played Resident Evil. I know how to figure this out. But no, she flips a red one and starts dumping fuel.
Yeah, so it's dumping fuel out of the wing, which immediately catches on fire and is approaching the plane.
And then Dean Cain decides to get up off his ass.
Then Dean Cain decides, oh, I'll just do it. I'll stop fighting the autopilot, which is doing its job.
Right.
I'll reach my giant banana hand, bunch of bananas under there. He turns it off, and then he flips what I'm assuming is the correct switch.
Right.
Which fries the control panel.
Right.
Which, well, we fixed the fuel problem, but now the control panel's down, so now the autopilot is stuck on.
Is it stuck on, though?
That's what he said. He said it's stuck on now. That's the problem. He said we solved that. We solved that one problem by creating a worse problem. Well, because Dean Cain is terrible at his job.
Then him struggling against that wheel for the entire movie is truly useless. Then
yes,
but then somehow he controls the plane during certain parts.
Yeah,
which we'll get to that too. It seems like the only thing. No, never mind. I'm not going to spoil the movie. I was that close, folks, to just spoiling this movie.
Yeah. So they get out of that. So now Dean Cain has to be in there now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
and wait, before you start, how many times are we going to have to watch Dean Cain put on his harness? It's like every time they go to him, he's putting on his seatbelt again. Every time. He's probably just like, man, this looks cool. Look how big it makes.
Doing something here.
Look how big it makes my shoulders look. That's what he was thinking.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
My shirt. I told wardrobe this shirt wasn't tight enough. Let me make sure I get something to show off how big my guns are.
So, we go back into first class, and the volcano scientist has hot-wired garage band on his iPod to be a radio.
Mm-hmm.
So now he can get in contact with the military base.
Yeah.
It's at this point that crazy guy gets up and starts saying that we need to get Dean Cain out of here because things have gone from bad to worse since he's been in there. And you're meant to think, well, he's a crazy guy. We need to deal with this. The crazy guy has a point.
He does.
Because things have gone from bad to worse since Dean Cain's gotten in.
They have. Now, could someone else have done better? I don't know. But so far, Dean Cain's track record is he's not doing a good job.
No, not. Let the autopilot do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
This guy has a point.
Yes.
So he then does a mutiny on the plane to try to get Dean Cain out.
Right.
And he gets his little mini bottles of alcohol like Liam Neeson in The Gray.
Right.
And he smashes them, and he's gonna get Dean Cain out of there. And it's at this point that not Hank pulls his revolver.
Right.
Settling it down, and they lock him up in the turlet.
That's right. Now, meanwhile, the other people who joined in the mutiny were free just to go back to their seats, no problem.
Yep. Beardy McGee gets Dean Cain in a headlock.
Yeah.
And they're ready to throw Dean Cain out the door. They're going to open the hatch and throw him out of the plane.
That's right.
They're going to murder him. They lock up the crazy guy in the turlet, and everybody else that was on board with killing a man, just go back to your seat.
Yeah, the dude with the...
Because he's sitting next to the scientist.
I was about to say, the dude with the beard is sitting right next to the scientist. It's all like, he sat down, he's like, you cool now? Yeah, man, I kind of, I'm okay now. It seemed like a good idea. Now I realize it wasn't a good idea. Let's enjoy the rest of this flight.
Yeah.
Where's that stewardess?
So the scientist gets a hold of the military base. He's just repeating. This is flight whatever. What's the numbers?
7389.
This is flight 7389. We need help. And the military hears it, and the guy that picks up on it goes, "What was the number of the flight we're looking for?" "It's them, jackass."
Whenever
you know it's them.
Whenever he said, "What was the name of that flight?" Some guy turns up our podcast on the radio, me going 7389, and that was it.
So they start asking him questions about, how are you guys doing? And we're not doing good. And he said, "How's your fuel situation?" He goes, "Well, we lost a lot, so we don't have a lot left." To which the guy then repeats to Captain Crunch, "They're out of fuel." That's not what he said.
Right. Now, a very interesting thing. I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but when he said we have about an hour left of fuel, for some reason, instinctively, I went straight to the timeline on Netflix to see how much longer this movie had left, and it was right at an hour.
Damn.
I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. But he said, we got an hour left, and I immediately went to the timeline, and it was 60 minutes. I was like, whoa! This is amazing.
That's pretty good. So, Captain Crunch says, my men aren't dying today. I'm not sending anybody out to save these people. It's okay if all the civilians on the beach die, but my men aren't dying.
Right.
Then the scientist that's there at the military base predicts that there's a mega eruption coming.
Yes. She used science to do this, but...
She used science and numberless graphs
to
predict that a mega eruption is coming.
Which that's all they do anyway.
Okay.
I do believe that's the scientific method.
Yes. It's at this point that the best part of the movie happens. We go back to the plane, and a big chunk of fiery lava rock hits one of the engines and gets jammed in it.
That's right.
So they've lost one of the engines now. So they got to get that engine back up and running. So what do?
Got to send somebody out.
Got to send somebody out. And who are we going to send out? This random dude.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what. Dean Cain needs these problems like he needs shrapnel in his chest. Oops.
Foreshadowing.
But anyway, they send this dude out.
This random guy approaches and says that he's going to do it because, and they're like, well, why are you volunteering this? He says, because I'm going on vacation.
I honestly thought
that's his drive. I got to fix this wing because I'm on my way to a vacation, and God damn it, I'm going.
That's right. Said he's going to meet his girlfriend. Now, however, is it a coincidence that he had a red shirt on? That's how I knew he was boned right then.
Yeah.
Dude's got a red shirt on. He's going to go do a spacewalk outside of a 737 or whatever it is.
And he says that his wife always tells him that he's gonna one of these days he's gonna get crushed by a car at his job. So I'm assuming he maybe changes oil and he's under a car.
I don't know. He never says.
He says this doesn't seem much different.
No,
it's quite different.
Yeah, and nobody seemed to ask him before he did it either. You know, like, what are your qualifications to go out there on a wing of a plane while it's flying and remove a rock from an engine? But then again, by that logic,
third in line at the manager job at the Jiffy Lube.
By that logic, somebody should have asked Dean Cain before he walked his swole ass up to the cockpit.
So they then take all the seatbelt extenders.
Yes.
And jerry rig a bungee line for him.
Right.
And they dangle him out the side of the plane.
Well, first they have to drop down. They drop down to 10,000 feet so that it'd be more pressurized or whatever. Yeah. And slow down is what they said.
Yeah. Well, if he said, if I drop down to 10,000 feet and ease back on the throttle.
That's right.
So how's he going to do that when the autopilot's on? He's fighting the throttle and the steering wheel now?
And changing altitude?
Either it's the worst autopilot ever, or Dean Cain is actually Superman in this.
He may be.
So
matter of fact, that's what I'm going by. He is Superman.
He is actually Superman in this. So they dangle this guy out in a fashion that can only be described as hilarious.
Oh, it is hilarious. And what's even more hilarious is the implementation they gave him to remove said lava rock. He literally has seatbelt extenders and a ball peen hammer. And he's going to go to town.
But don't worry, because he has one of those drop-down oxygen masks.
Oh,
with a tiny little string holding it on around his head as he steps out onto the wing of a fucking plane.
Yeah. And he takes it off. Like, why'd you even,
Why did he need... He gets out there, he bangs away at it, and it falls out, and the engine comes back on. And he takes off his mask. He's like, "Yay, I did it!"
Yeah.
And they start to pull him back in, which I'm fairly sure was just the reversed footage of him.
I think that's exactly what it was.
So he's coming back, in which point another rock comes down and hits and jostles the plane,
right?
Which causes them to lose their grip on him, and he gets sucked back into the engine he just fixed and blew it out anyway.
Yeah. Now, there's two things. Actually, you messed up there. That happens on his way out. They let go. Listen, they let go.
Yeah, that happens, but it happens again.
No, what happens the second time is the latch for the seatbelt extender catches on the door. And they just basically unhooked him. And then he goes through.
Because his lifeline is... Every 2 feet of his lifeline has an easy to fold out hatch that would just send him off into oblivion.
Right, which nobody thought to maybe duct tape those shut, but anyway. But to explain how he's being like gingerly sent out to this wing, the best way I could explain it is like if you took one of those videos like of a dog where they lift a dog up by a rope, like by like a harness, and it's just hanging there.
Turned it sideways.
And just turned it 90 degrees. That's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like.
When they're lifting dogs out of floodwaters.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just kind of dangling with all their limbs out.
Yeah, just flip it 90 degrees, and now you have the image of that guy going out to the wing.
Oh, my God.
Just had to say that.
So that happened. We cut back to the military base, and they're picking up bogeys on the radar.
Yeah.
And
now the volcano is now shooting pinpoint projectiles now.
Yes. I didn't know what this was. I thought the movie was going to take a weird turn, and this was going to be like actual things.
I thought the Russians were coming. I thought
bats made of fire coming down. The fucking Nazgul.
I thought it was MiGs. That's what I thought. I was just waiting for Danger Zone to start playing
with the volcano.
Yeah, I thought the MiGs were coming in. That was it. Anytime I've ever heard bogeys in a movie, it's been MiGs.
So they got bogeys coming in. So what everybody does is they run outside and look up.
Right.
As you do. And the bogeys are just lava rocks that come down, and a couple guys get obliterated by them.
Yeah.
One guy gets burned and his skin slides off.
Yeah, they try to. That was. They're trying to lift this guy up off the ground. They grab him by his arms, and all the skin slides off his arms. And the only thing I could think was that necessary? Like,
no.
Did we have to do that? Sorry, but I'm all for a gory movie, but not necessary.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the man's skin's off now. His nerves are exposed, and they just went ahead and grabbed his arms again, picked him up, no problem.
Yep. He'll tough it out.
You're in the army, damn it. You're in this army question mark, basically. Yeah. You signed up on Craigslist. You knew what you were getting into.
So they dodge the falling meteors, and then they do a shot which I swear was the same shot in Independence Day, where Will Smith stands up with the burning rubble in the background, and he looks up and he wipes his forehead, and the camera's like spinning around him in slow motion.
I think
they do that shot, but with
a car flipping over him.
With Colonel what's his face, Command shit.
No, it's Sergeant
Holloway.
Tully. Sergeant Tully.
I was all over the fucking place. Yeah. Sergeant Tully does the Will Smith shot.
Meanwhile, Captain Crunch just stayed inside because he was like, y'all assholes can go out there. I ain't going out there. He was fine.
Yeah. My men aren't dying today.
Yeah. Go outside and look up, Chicken Little.
So we go back to the plane. They're in the cargo hold, and they're tossing out all the luggage to try to lighten the plane to make Dean Cain's job easier.
Yeah.
I say toss Dean Cain's big ass out.
Yeah, especially after they tossed all the luggage and they come and ask Dean Cain, did that help? And he says no. It's like, well,
no.
Get your big ass out of that chair then.
So,
right then I honestly thought, the first thing I thought was, well, I guess Tony Macaroni's flying out the back of that plane, but that didn't happen.
So, Dean Cain gets another brilliant idea to endanger everyone on the plane. Mm-hmm. And we need to lose some more weight. Well, we got a dead engine on the plane.
Two dead engines.
We got 2 dead engines. So let's get rid of one of those. In which he then, again, Superman muscles the plane, and he aims it at one of the falling lava rocks, and it knocks off the dead engine like it was attached with Legos.
Yeah, and does no damage to anything else.
No damage to the wing. The wing's fine. It just pops off.
And then immediately after, goes ahead and does it to the other side too.
Yep.
No worries. Absolutely amazing. Dude can't put his hand in a fucking dashboard, but I can line up these rocks falling at, I'm sure, quicker than the speed of sound. And I'm going to tilt this wing at just the right angle to knock off these engines.
Twice.
Which, once again, he's just really just playing with everybody's lives at that point.
Yeah. Like, what else can I get away with?
Yeah, it was one of those hold my beer moments. He knew he was screwed. And he's like, watch what I can do. You know.
It worked. He's like, oh, shit, how am I going to top that now?
Yeah.
So
the only thing I
now-
can do, the only thing better than this is if I get hit in the chest with shrapnel. Oops.
So it's at this point, Sergeant Tully
Right.
forges orders to send a cargo plane to help, a military cargo plane to help out.
Correct.
And they're doing this on the down low so Captain Crunch doesn't get wind of it.
Right.
The cargo plane approaches, and there's a shot of the cargo plane pilot in the quote unquote cockpit of the cargo plane. Now clearly, they only had enough money to build one half-assed cockpit,
Correct.
and that one's reserved for Dean Cain, because this guy might as well have been sitting at a lucite table with some lights on it, and that was the cockpit of this plane.
I'm convinced that was just an office chair he was sitting in, too. I mean, it had to be.
So they're coming up, and their grand plan is they want all the passengers to go into the cargo hold of the plane. They're gonna fly up underneath, and they're gonna open the little top hatch.
A 2x2 hatch.
A 2x2 hatch on top of the military cargo plane, and they're just gonna funnel people into it,
Yeah.
flying at full speed in the air.
Yeah. Through this ring of volcanoes where rings of power are being forged as they speak.
So they're coming up, and the co-pilot, whatever, opens up his little hatch, and he comes out, and there's a shot of them looking out the cargo hatch of their plane at them approaching, and he's just in it, just like waving at them. There's no wind, there's no nothing. It's like Lando Calrissian plucking Luke off the bottom of Cloud City.
Yeah.
They just kind of float up there, and they just pull them down, and right as they're starting to get this process going, what do you know? Disaster strikes.
Of course.
And the military plane is obliterated.
Yeah. Luckily, only
At
3
this
no-name characters had jumped onto that plane at that point.
Yeah. No, the ash cloud started generating lightning. That's what it was.
That's what it was. That is
Now-
such a thing, by the way.
Okay. I was wondering if that was a thing.
That is a thing. Yeah. One of the few things that's actually a thing in this movie. Because what
the
would have
ash
been a
cloud
thing if
generate-
in the real world, what would have been a thing if that guy would have come out the sunroof of a plane at that speed, he would have snapped his spine in half. As soon as he would have come out of that head, hey everybody, how's it? Dead.
No, because he's going with the plane. It's like that. You know, when you jump inside of a school bus, you don't go flying to the back of the school bus.
Yeah. I guess that's what's going on here.
Oh my god!
Either way, the school bus down at this point because it's out of commission. There's orcs right now pulling together that scrap, making shields and whatnot. This movie.
So, the military plane goes down. Captain Crunch catches on, and Sergeant Tully's in trouble, and he's going to get hauled off by the MPs.
Court-martialed. Which
So
I'm not
while
sure
he's-
what that
while
means, but
while he's about to be pulled out by the MPs to his court-martial, they patch through the heartfelt pleas of the people on the plane, because Volcano Scientist is letting everybody use his iPad to record a little personal message to anyone who might be listening,
right.
and that breaks through to Captain Crunch's soggy heart.
Yeah. Which, let me ask you this question. You have this option. Say you're on a plane, you're on this plane, there's volcanoes surrounding you, blah, 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 all this stuff. You're really in this situation.
Yeah.
And somebody offers you this thing to record your heartfelt message. Do you do it? Or do you just say, no, I think I'm just going to sit down here and shut the hell up, because it seems like people who talk around here, bad things happen to them.
Now, the first person he gives it to is this old woman who, she says, I have no idea what to say, so she starts rattling off her stats
Yeah.
Well, I'm 67 years old, and I do this and I do that, and my husband's already dead, so I guess I'm going to be with you soon. And you're talking to nobody, lady.
Yeah.
We're going to die any minute, and you're wasting someone's chance.
I'm a half-orc frost mage.
So it's at this point we're reminded, oh yeah, there's a crazy guy in the toilet.
Yeah.
He breaks free of his bonds. Well, he's shown starting to break free. He doesn't get out just yet.
No.
This is when we get a little bit of a little heartfelt talk between the flight attendant and Dean Cain.
Stewardess.
Where Dean Cain finally admits that, he flies planes.
Right.
And he's got this picture of his family that he lost in a way that isn't described.
They never say.
Maybe it was a plane crash? Maybe? But he
Yeah,
says
a
that
plane crash, he was flying it.
Yeah.
He's the only survivor.
And he says, well, after I lost my family, I just kept flying. It was as if I wished I could turn back time to save them. Who do you think you are, Dean Cain? Superman?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even put that one together. That one's awesome.
He says, I just kept flying so I could turn back time to save my family.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're right. That is a solid Superman reference, without a doubt.
Yeah. So
I'm just pissed off I didn't pick that up.
Yeah. The military base decides that the only way to do this now is to blast the center of the new mega volcano that's being born, and that'll stop them for some reason.
Right.
So that they're doing that, but they also need to rescue the people on the plane. So they hire some skydivers, as you do.
Right.
And the skydiver's going to go in and save the day.
Which at first I thought, how the hell are skydivers going to do anything?
Oh, we will find out.
Oh, yeah. They come up with...
They're being escorted in by a bunch of fighters, led by Captain Crunch.
Yeah, Captain Crunch is now Red Wing 1. He's leading the Red Wing squadron to go in.
So they're on their way to the plane. It's at this point that the air marshal on the plane, not Hank, decides we're going to get out of here by Indiana Jonesing in the Temple of Dooming out of the plane by inflating a raft and getting in it and just floating down to the ocean below.
Right.
To it,
something else though. He did something pretty messed up there. He goes and he announces to everyone that that's what they're going to do. Yeah. And then the flight attendant comes and tells him, not everybody can fit on that raft, right? And he says, well, we're just going to get the women and the children. It's like, why did you tell everybody? You just gave everybody false hope. He should have silently brought the women and children back and did that.
Yeah.
Maybe if he wouldn't have been acting like that and he wouldn't have got shot. Oops.
Now, wait a second. If he would have succeeded in that, he would have murdered all the women and children.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because, remember, folks, they're still in the center of all these volcanoes.
You're right.
Which is now turning into a mega volcano.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So it's at this point that crazy guy breaks out of the turlet and attacks the air marshal.
To which the bald guy finally says, oh, thank God, I've been holding it in for an hour.
He gets out, gets the air marshal's gun, and in the struggle, shoots him.
Right.
So that's it for the air marshal. And he says that he's taken the raft and he's escaping. And nobody tried to stop him. And he makes this very long, drawn-out march to the back of the plane, pointing his gun, and he turns his back on literally every single person in the plane at some point. Mm-hmm. So anyone could have taken him out. Wow. Anybody.
Can I just go ahead and say how much Tony Macaroni's a dick at this juncture? Because, okay, first off, Tony Macaroni goes to the Sky Marshal. And Sky Marshal, first off, he just looks at him and goes, Tony Macaroni. Just like that. But then, the Sky Marshal's telling this heartfelt thing about his grandson that's his age. And he's like, he always holds my hand when I go to sleep, and he's explaining this. So you think the little boy's going to hold his hand as he dies. No, he just gives him the stupid handshake. which you would think is bad enough. But the end of the handshake is them actually doing shooting things at each other. Like they shoot little pistols.
They do shooty fingers.
Yeah, the guy just got shot. Tony Macaroni's a dick. They should have thrown him out when they needed to get rid of weight. Because the guy's asking you to hold his hand. You do the secret handshake and fake shoot him again. And then he dies, dickhead.
I didn't need to be reminded of that macaroni.
Yeah. Tony Macaroni. I mean, just like that. Tony Macaroni. What a dick.
So, crazy guy then jumps out the back of the plane in the raft, which has parachutes on it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know they did that.
Well, no, he said that's what the guy said. Sky Marshal said, I got 2 parachutes and a raft. He did say that.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought they were just going to float down like they did in
No.
in
He said he had
Temple
2 parachutes and a raft. He did say
Okay,
that.
I didn't get that part. Apologies, Asylum.
Yeah.
Your movie makes sense.
Does the defense's case hold water? No, it doesn't.
The 2 Utes. So, it's at this point that the attack on the mega volcano commences in what is actually Star Fox graphics.
It actually
of
was.
These planes flying around shooting stuff.
Yeah.
And not only Star Fox graphics, Star Fox dialogue as well.
Oh yeah, somebody did a barrel roll.
It's all pull up. He's down. There's a bogey on your 6.
Yeah.
Like stock dog fighting.
Do
dialogue.
a barrel roll.
I was waiting for somebody to say that. This is Peppy.
Yeah.
So one of the pilots ejects and is blasted to oblivion with a lava rock, and that's why you don't eject.
Pinpoint accuracy with these lava rocks, by the way. What gets me, like, their strategy actually became to give cover fire.
Yeah.
It's a volcano. Meanwhile, a disembodied voice comes on the radio. Yeah, them volcanoes can be tricky. You might want to lay down some cover fire.
So, the mega volcano was born. Of course, it erupts underneath the crazy guy in the raft.
Right.
Who
As
thinks
it should.
he escaped. Kills him. And it's not just an eruption, like a giant spire volcano comes out of the ground.
It's literally Mount Doom.
Yeah, it's Mount Doom. I kept thinking, they're going in circles and circles and circles, but Dean Cain is making this plane do his bidding.
Yes.
Why don't they just pick a direction and fly in it?
That apparently you can't do that. Which, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, Dean Cain was so depressed that he had killed his family in a plane crash of his doing that when this whole thing came up, that's why he immediately jumped into the pilot seat. That's why he made up all this stuff about autopilot. He was doing this just to commit suicide.
He's going to take all these people with him.
Doesn't matter. That's what it is.
See,
this isn't Airplane versus Volcano. This is depressed man killing himself.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So, the top of the plane is ripped off, and people are getting sucked out the top of the plane. So we've whittled the cast down to about 4 at this point.
Right.
Now the extreme skydivers show up.
Mm-hmm.
And their plan is they're going to Dark Knight Rises the people out of the plane.
Yeah, and try to tow the plane away.
Yeah. So they skydive out and attach tow cables to the plane. And that's not going to work. There's too much resistance. So they just zip back and forth on the tow lines, ferrying people out of the plane back into the other plane.
Which, by the way, people got sucked out of that plane. Even though they were strapped in, they got sucked out of that plane. But then when these guys are in the plane, there's no wind in the plane. Nope. And people are just getting out of their seats saying, "Oh, excuse me, I need to get to the rescuer." And like they're just grabbing hold and like nobody's getting sucked anywhere. And then they literally zip line like against the grain back to the other plane.
Yeah. And in that process, deliver 200 pounds of explosives to the plane.
Ah, fuck. Damn you, Asylum. I would have won this thing if it wasn't for you.
The only people left on the plane are Dean Cain and the main flight attendant.
Right.
It's at this point when tragedy strikes and Dean Cain gets shrapnel in the chest.
What?
Who saw it coming?
What? That's amazing.
So Dean Cain's dying, and the flight attendant and the rescue guy are about to get out, and she's talking to Dean Cain. Dean Cain says, it's okay. You just need to go, and you need to save yourself." And she's like she's very upset about losing him, and she kisses him, and it's like they've known each other forever. And
right.
Why?
Because
because he's Dean Cain.
Look, let me tell you something.
The world's losing Dean Cain. He might as well have just been playing himself in this movie.
Let me tell you, if I'm in that situation, I'm kissing Dean Cain too. I would literally say, right before I did it, I'd say, well, I want to see what all the fuss is about. And then I'd give him a 12-second Frencher.
So after the passionate kiss, the rescuer tells Dean Cain, "There's 200 pounds of explosives on the plane. You need to aim for the center of the mega volcano. Good luck."
And shuts the door. So see you later,
shuts
Dick.
the door. So they zip the stewardess back. They detach the tow cables some kind of way. And then Dean Cain Supermans this plane to fly straight up the side of the mega volcano and over the edge and down into the center of it.
Right.
And he does this and he hits it. And they show like it's a special effect where it's all CG, but it's like the interior wall of the volcano gets hit and there's a little explosion and like a little couple of pebbles fall down. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, well, he fucked this up too.
Right. That's what I thought too.
So it then ends and he did it. There's a bad explosion and it's over. All the volcanoes are gone.
I will say this. We never did see him die. So I equate this...
Oh, he flew out.
This you're right. This was Batman Rises all over again.
Yeah.
We didn't see him die.
Didn't happen.
Alfred is going to see him eating crumpets somewhere.
Yeah.
And, with Lois
the
Lane.
autopilot was working the whole time.
Yeah.
No shit it was.
Yeah.
So, they go back to the base, and the people are saved. There's a shot of them. We hear that volcanoes were erupting all over the world, apparently.
Yeah, but then people are still high-fiving
erupted and
yeah, they're still high-fiving each other.
Yeah. Well, we know how to, like in Independence Day, we know how to beat them. Send out the word. Send your Dean Cains into the volcanoes. And then the movie just kind of ends.
That was it.
That
was it. So how do you make it better? I know how I'd make it better. All right, so the whole time, it's basically the same exact movie until the very end. And the plane is about to hit the center of the volcano. You see a red streak fly out of the plane. Superman's gone. And then it's a shot back into the cockpit. And it's the blown up autopilot from the airplane movies. With sunglasses on. And right before he plunges into the volcano, he lifts up his sunglasses and he's cross-eyed. And then it blows up. And if none of that makes sense to you, then you haven't listened to previous episodes, so you probably need to go back.
Go back and listen to our Sniper Special Ops episode, and then forward from there, because that's where that started.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Then it's the perfect movie.
I can't think of a way to make this better. Don't make it. Don't make it.
Just don't make it. So, when can we get everybody to join hands across the world to get Blake and Chase to write an Asylum film? When's that going to happen?
I mean, it's not hard to come up with one. School bus versus Dimetrodon. There you go.
Fucking nerd ass would say Dimetrodon. It's the only kid I knew, playing with dinosaurs. This one had to have like the you couldn't have a dinosaur with a rocket launcher on it. No. It's got to be to scale, real dinosaur, nothing else.
Yeah. Messing with that bullshit.
Yeah. T-Rex didn't have teeth like that. Throw that shit away. Well, hold on, man.
Yeah.
There's a fine quality T-Rex. No, throw it away.
Yeah, guess what? In every single Jurassic Park movie, the Velociraptors, they're not Velociraptors.
No, they're not.
They're Deinonychus.
I know.
That's it.
Which
Velociraptor's about 2 foot tall.
Which sounds,
They live in Mongolia.
Don't get me started on Mongolians. But perfect point. That's a grown man giving you that information. But when it's an 11-year-old telling you that, like when Jurassic Park first comes out, it's like the magic is gone when you're 11 because
those aren't actually Velociraptors, right?
Yeah, it's exactly how that went.
Michael Crichton just chose the name Velociraptor because it sounded zingier than Deinonychus.
Yeah. Then I'm like, oh well, thanks for ruining my summer movie experience, asshole. We're only 11 years old. Hey,
that was before, because back when Dino Riders was a thing, the raptor one, it was a Deinonychus, and that's where I learned that from.
I know it was.
It came with the little hammerhead guy.
It doesn't make you any less of a buzzkill. All right.
Oh my god. Well, that's done.
Well, there was no stinger at the end of this movie. I got to check every one because I know the time that I don't check is going to be an issue.
No Mega Plane versus Mecha Volcano.
It could be in the works. Could be in the works. Jesus. See, this is what I always talk about. I was having fun until now I realize I gotta watch Gallup Walkers or whatever. with not Wesley Snipes narrating it.
Yeah. It's his triumphant return.
like the review from last week. Edward Furlong is in no way, shape, or form back. Oh man. Well, who knows? Does this one? No, this one isn't on the worst of the worst list. It doesn't knock anybody out. Not in my mind.
Nah.
Because honestly,
that
whole dog from the floodwater thing. That really made me enjoy this.
That
movie.
made the movie right there.
It did. So I wouldn't say this doesn't break that top 5 worst of the worst at all. We don't have to worry about that. Go with Le Flo lives to fight another day.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing taking out that one.
That French bastard defeated Dean Cain.
Oh, poor old Dean Cain. Well, I shouldn't say poor old Dean Cain. Dean Cain probably got paid a nice little chunk of change to sit there and fight a steering wheel for an hour. You know? If you really think about it, hold on. Dean Cain was Steven Seagal in this movie.
Yeah.
He sat there.
He just sat his ass down.
And the action happened around him.
Yep.
Dean
and
Cain.
He had a goatee.
Dean Cain is the one who had a minor in genius and majored in awesome. That dude got paid to be a Seagal. Something we should all aspire to be.
When they make the Seagal biopic, they need Dean Cain to play him.
No, Dean Cain's going to play Batsuck.
Whew. Another callback to a previous episode.
Can you imagine them two making out? Dean Cain's
Seagal and Batsuck, or Seagal and Dean Cain?
No, Seagal and Dean Cain. And like Dean Cain's beard would automatically turn pitch black from all that dye rubbing off on
It would
his.
just stain.
Yeah. It would look like on Roger Rabbit when they open up the box of holes, like they threw a hole on his face. That's what it looks like.
Seagal would kiss him and Dean Cain would go cross-eyed.
That's why Seagal always has to have some type of head covering on to cover the damn hole that's on top of his head. The judge threw a hole on top of his head years ago and he can't get it off of there.
Holy shit.
That's when you've watched too much TV, folks, when you can pull that out of your ass.
Threw a hole on his face.
All right, I think that
shit.
So let's end on that high note, huh?
Yeah. So we're watching Gallo Walkers. Wesley Snipes. You can't miss it. Watch it or don't, as usual.
Yeah, at your own peril.
We're watching it. Yeah.
If you don't want to watch it, it's okay. We got it covered. No worries.
Yeah. We're going through this pain, so you don't have to.
I hope I win next week. I'm so tired of losing. I hate this. I hate sucking so bad. I have to change my name to Batsuck.
Batsuck. This is how I do it. You just you have to watch it looking for questions.
That's what I did this time, but I looked for
everything, like, and not the obvious stuff either. Like, could that be a question? Could that possibly be a question? And you just it's like you're cramming for an exam.
Yeah, it's hard enough it's hard enough to watch the movie than to sit there and actually work at it too.
Yeah.
Well, hats off to you because you're the one that always comes up with the whole layout of everything. But because I can't take notes while I watch these goddamn movies.
That's the only way I get through it.
I can't do it.
Is taking notes. See, and that would help you remember shit too if you're writing all this stuff down.
No, we'll go through therapy off air, I guess.
Okay. Till next week, folks. Gallo Walkers. Watch it.
Or don't.
That too.
Ay, ay, ay.
Thank you for listening to Garbage Theatre. To get the latest episodes, please subscribe on iTunes and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/garbagetheatre. You can also listen to Garbage Theatre anytime, anywhere on Stitcher Radio on Demand. Download the free app today.